And welcome back, everyone, to the Zanpakuto creation series. This one actually was a very recent one, but I figured, you know what, it lines up well, so we'll do it. Comes from some Derek Haggard, who asked the question, what is the Zanpakuto? We'll make this image a little bigger for you. Arlinn from Magic the Gathering. Now, if you're not familiar with Magic the Gathering lore, let me spin you words. Now, Derek was actually very kind to give us a very good synopsis of who Arlinn is, what her story, his background is, all that. To summarize what it is, obviously in the world of Magic, there are spellcasters, sorcerers, all that kind of stuff. She's apparently an archmage. Now, I had to confirm what her ability was, like her actual magic capabilities, because every sorcerer, spellcaster, mage, whatever, has their speciality. For example, the character Jace, he's a telepath. He's a psychic. He can read minds, illusionist, all that. A character called Chandra is a pyromancer, fire casting, all that. A character called Gideon Liliana is a necromancer. A character called Gideon has the ability to actually make his body indestructible through magic and manipulate. He had these weapons at one point that were like whips that were attached to his arm. That were pretty cool, but he lost those a while back. But he can basically make himself invulnerable is what he can do. So each character has their own specialty of magic. Now, some probably do, what's the word I'm looking for here? Some probably do have very similar magic, so they can kind of do very similar things. Let me see here. I'm just looking for your comments, Derek, so I can actually, because you really did a good job of kind of summarizing Arlinn very well. So I wanted to find that comment so I can just like go off of that and kind of go by what you said. I must have skipped too far in my comment section here. Where are you? So yeah, Arlinn, first off, as you can see by the picture, Arlinn's kind of special. Arlinn's a werewolf. But unlike other werewolves in her world, most werewolves lose their humanity and just are wild, savage monsters when they turn into werewolves. Arlinn is not the case. Arlinn, and I can't remember if it's actually due to her Planeswalker spark or if it's something else, but Arlinn actually does have control of herself and her actions while she is transformed into a werewolf. So that puts her in a very unique position as a planeswalker and as a werewolf. Where is that? It wasn't that far back you made this comment, Derek. I wish I could even remember the video. It was you know what it was? I think I remember what it was, because it was with the Zanpakuto video for last week. That's what it was. Hold on. I just got to go back a little further here. 1 second. And there you are, Derek. Found your comment. It was when I should have realized it was with you made it with the Yoda video. So I'll read this verbatim, but I'll do it quickly because I don't want to spend all the time doing this. But as Derek basically explains or summarizes, Arlinn hails from the plane of Innistrad, which is basically a gothic horror type plane. She's an arc druid, which means she is a powerful practitioner of nature magic, including natural elements like fire, lightning, water, earth, wind. May she do powerful spells, including healing spells, summon storms of fire, lightning, strike the elements, things along those lines. Now, we never really see that illustrated on her cards. Should note that a Planeswalker's cards usually give a kind of indication of what their abilities actually are. But that being said, usually what she does is she's more physically enhancing herself than anything else. She has her inner Planeswalker spark, and by awakening it, which not only boosts her magical powers and the potency of her magic, it enhances her stamina and natural lycanthropy healing factor, gives her a signature ability of Planeswalk through different worlds. And as I said, she is she's one of the only werewolves we know of that actually maintains her consciousness, her human consciousness, in werewolf form. So again, being an Arc Druid is cool, but again, we never really see her elemental abilities really illustrated in her cards at all. Again, I'm not saying she doesn't have those. I'm just saying we never see them illustrated. Usually her abilities involve summoning out wolves or enhancing your creatures or turning into a werewolf. Or even just giving mana, which I guess could be indicative of elements. Either way, I think is this the first Magic the Gathering character I put on the Zanpakuto series? I can't recall. This might be the first Magic the Gathering character I've done on this series. But either way, what do I think a Zanpakuto for her looks like? Well, I think it would actually be very, very interesting that maybe her werewolf nature kind of converted her like she had a Zanpakuto prior and it converted the Zanpakuto initially, unintentionally, kind of like almost like a hollow, but slightly different because it is her soul on some level being infected. I think this is kind of mostly a melee with a special ability though. It doesn't really have a ability designed for straight out long range combat, at least not in Shikai, but it does have a kind of ability. Its standard form, like most of them, would be a katana. Its release command would be Break the Moon, Wolf's Curse, or Okame no Nano. And then its Bankai would be Wolf's Broken Moon, or Urufuzu Brokun Mon. Again, I'm going off Google Translate. Now, what exactly? Hey, first off, her spirit probably used to just be like a woman of some kind, because most Zanpakuto spirits are the same gender as their user, with some exceptions, particularly on the male side of things. For example, because it's a reflection of your soul, if you had a very strong female influence in your life, as Kisuke most likely did, we're not sure who, but some people said Jumaro based on the way Benihime looks. As we know, Kenpachi did. We know he has a female Zanpakuto, as Kyoraku does. So we know he has a female Zanpakuto, and as I believe it was the 8th Kenpachi, Azashiro Soya, his Zanpakuto is female and looks like his sister due to his strong relationship with his sister. So you can have someone have an opposite gender Zanpakuto to you. It's just Arlinn probably wouldn't be one of those individuals. But because of the lycanthropy, her spirit probably like phases. When she's a werewolf, her spirit is a werewolf. Not when it's a Bankai, but when she's in a werewolf form, her spirit is a werewolf. The Zanpakuto itself probably turns into some sort of large claymore, a broadsword kind of thing. It'd probably be really big for her in her normal form. She can still wield it fine. We know size doesn't really matter when it comes to your own personal Zanpakuto. You will wield your Zanpakuto with efficiency so long as you train with it, have the strength, so forth. But in the hand of a werewolf, this thing is like, she's one-arming it. She's probably like going ham on fools. It's nuts. Now, what does the Zanpakuto actually do? I think what the Zanpakuto actually is doing is absorbing light, but not any light. It's absorbing, it's probably absorbing some level of Ryatsu too, but more importantly, it's absorbing lunar light, which is why if she activates her Zanpakuto at night. In fact, it's very good chance that one of the rituals she does, if she were like, say, a captain or whatever, would be to, at night, maybe spend a couple hours a night just activating your Zanpakuto, training with it, and absorbing lunar light with it. Now, does it do anything else in Shikai? It might have one or two minor keto effects. It might have like a blinding lunar flash or something like that. Or it might be able to release a concentrated burst of almost like a Getsuga Tensho kind of thing. But really, it's mostly just storyline. It can only do that in minor doses, like as a minor effect. It really is mostly just a melee weapon otherwise. Until you get to the Bankai, which, as I mentioned, its name would translate out to Wolf's Broken Moon. Basically, her Bankai, when she activates it, shatters. It's not like Zenbun Zakura where its command is shatter and it turns into petals. No, the sword handle and blade shatter. And it shatters in a burst of lunar light that is immense. And when it's revealed, when the effect is revealed, she is like almost wearing, not quite, but it's like over her, it's protecting her, enveloping her, but it's like almost burning off her skin like flames. This ethereal lunar wolf that is just there. And it's pretty much acts kind of like a Tenken or a honestly kind of like a Tenken, or I guess you could say maybe a Kon Akasogi Jizo. Basically, it is actually it's probably closer to Stark's Wolves, actually, is what it would be. Not quite a Sero per se, but almost like a fragment of her soul formed. Basically, this is her sword now, the full range of the beast. And now that it's fully released, and its size and power would all depend on how much lunar energy she's stored up in her blade, is now coming in hard and fast. It's able to tear through objects. It has no physical form, so just straight cutting isn't going to work. Or again, Ryatsu to Ryatsu, whatever. But yeah, it would be it would burn away. It would even maybe have some, let's call it, at least in terms of the Bleach equivalent of holy properties, where things like hollows could be instantly burned or incinerated. Something demonic-esque would be immediately hurt by this Zanpakuto. It would be fierce and powerful. But I think the werewolf form could amp it up even further. I think like the final form her Bankai could take is essentially cloaking herself in like this wolf-like armor, condensing it all down into this just concentrated energy wolf armor, and that she could wear as a human, almost like, say, Guts does in Berserk, but in her werewolf form, just like roars out. You know, if she is in the Bleach world and we were just convert her character to a Bleach character, she could be part of Komamura's clan, but she could be a weird member of the clan who can actually go back and forth between her wolf form and her human form. There you go. I literally just made her character for Bleach. Fanfic that, people. Arlinn Korda, remember? Ship her and Komamura. Make it happen. Come on. Actually, could work pretty well. But there you go. It's like she, well, at first being a werewolf's a curse, or in this case being a member of the wolf clan, she ultimately embraces the wolf heritage. Like, and her Bankai also, because it's lunar energy, could force her transformation. Like, she can't transform at will, technically, as far as I know. She still needs the moonlight. But with lunar energy in her blade, well, there you go. She can still turn into the werewolf if she needs to, and then just go completely ham on fools. This is a really cool idea. It's a Zanpakuto that is one part, say, Tenken, one part I want to say one part like kind of like Tensa Zangetsu, because you're wearing the cloak in that. It's a little bit of something kind of like Engetsu, and maybe even a smidge of Nozarashi's Bankai a little bit, but mostly not much there. But it's kind of an interesting blend of these. Now, what would be the weaknesses of this blade? Well, like I said, it would have some minor effects in Shikai, but its powers are not. Its Shikai ability is passive. It's a very passive ability with some minor aids in combat or scenarios here or there. So it's really only a physical blade otherwise. A powerful blade, sure, but physical blade. So other stronger blades, again, a Nozarashi, hell, even Ikaku's Bankai probably would overpower something like this. It's also, like I said, it needs lunar light, which means this Zanpakuto, if you activate it during the day, is not doing anything. It still has like lunar energy stored up, and maybe it's even glowing a lot, but it doesn't do anything during the daylight. Now, before anyone goes on the science rant, I'm very well aware that the moonlight you see is actually sunlight being reflected off the moon. There's a great little comic bit about vampires going like, wait, if the moonlight is just the sun reflecting off that, and it just bursts into flames, damn it. And then the werewolf turns into a werewolf during the sun, daylight. I'm aware of that, but we can go with the argument that that hitting the moon does something to the light and turns into some different type of light. So like I said, this Zanpakuto is not useless during the day, but does not do anything during the day. Also, this Bankai is entirely dependent on how much lunar energy has been stored up. Now, granted, if we're talking about Shinigami who live for thousands upon thousands of years, hell, Ichibei is alleged to be maybe millions of years old. We simply actually don't know how long Shinigami's natural lifespans are. Because we know Yamamoto had founded the Gotei 13 about 1,000 years prior to the original series, and he said that No Soul Reaper had been born stronger than him in over 2,000 years. So we know that he's well over 2,000 years old. He's most likely in the he's well over upper thousands. But again, we just don't have a clear-cut answer to his age. We don't have an answer to anyone's age, again, except for maybe Ichibei, who was more or less there at the beginning of everything. Anyway, so yeah, the Bankai is dependent on how much energy is in there. If you just did it one night, it might be effective, but not anything impressive. You do it over the course of every night over the course of a couple thousand years, or even a couple of decades, yeah, you're talking. But what the other problem would be, once you use the Bankai up, there's no lunar energy left. This thing is burning away all the energy the Bankai stored up. And I should note that once the Bankai is done, the blade would reform itself. I should note that as well. And again, anything that is attacking in a non-corporeal way, for example, water, ice, elements would be able to actually clash effectively with this. Whether or not this Bankai overpowers elements, who knows? But still, elements should be able to clash with this more effectively than any physical attacks. And a sort of Ryatsu disruption should work as well, at least to some degree. Anywho, I digress. I think this would be a really cool type of Zanpakuto. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Later.